Show me a juror who says they can be unbiased towards Trump, and I'll show you a liar. That's why we don't have political trials in America. Fairness is impossible. Trump's legal team was given the names of potential jurors, and after Googling them, discovered there were undercover activists trying to sneak onto the jury.
And Jesse Waters would have you believe that that's a bad thing. We don't want people hiding who they are, trying to get on there just to screw over one side or the other. We don't want that. Sorry, no, we don't want that for the other side. We desperately want that for our side, because you already have the right-wing media calls for that to happen. Clay Travis instructed his audience to try in whatever way they can to get onto the jury and quote, refuse to convict. I want jury nullification. If I were in New York City and I were on this jury group, I would do everything that I could do to get seated on this jury, and I would refuse to convict. Only takes one person. So to be clear, not let's have some people that are sympathetic towards Trump to hear the evidence and decide based on the evidence. No, none of that. Clay Travis doesn't care what the evidence shows. You get on there, you get him off scot-free. Donald Trump should not suffer any consequences. We are utter elitists. We believe that the rich and powerful are above the law.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
And to be clear, if it seems unfair that I'm contrasting Waters, what he's saying about the other side with his own side, no, he's aware of what Clay Travis says. In that monologue, he goes on to reference that and says people are being unfair and criticizing Clay Travis, as Clay Travis is telling his side to do what Jesse Waters is baselessly hypothesizing those, I guess, on the left or Democrats are doing. And he goes even beyond that in trying to pick apart even the like tiny bits of data that we have about some potential jurors. Take a look at this.
Number 2, a nurse from the Upper East Side with a master's degree. She's not married, has no kids, and lives with her fiance who works in finance. She gets her news from the New York Times, Google, and CNN. She said 2 things that really stuck out. One, quote, I don't really have an opinion of Trump, and quote, no one is above the law. I'm not so sure about juror number 2.
And that is Jesse Waters being uncharacteristically honest. The idea that she, this hypothetical anonymous potential juror, doesn't think that anyone should be above the law is enough to write her off for Jesse Waters, because he believes, and all of those in the right-wing media believe, that they should be above the law. Those who are rich, those who are powerful, Republican politicians should 100% be above the law. And so they'll find all of that suspicious. The fact that she's a nurse, obviously, she likes medicine, clearly a closet Democrat. Her husband or her fiance is in finance. He like made a face at that. You know all those finance people, those are all communists, right? How is that all of a sudden a sign of a Democrat? But anyway, so look, they're gonna do this with everyone. Again, in the same way that the judge is conflicted because he has to, by definition, be, how dare he challenge Donald Trump? These jurors, just by virtue of the fact that they get onto the jury, they are suspicious too. And so they will be attacked anonymously if that's all the right wing has. But if they find out who these people are, then they will 100% out them and dox them, if for no other reason than to try to delay the outcome of this trial. Those are my thoughts. Sharon, what do you think about this? What do you think about these jurors and the process?
Well, it's suspicious that juror number 2 didn't say she also samples Fox News, okay? Because that's what's going on here. Jesse Waters is a bonehead, but we already knew that. You're right about these jurors. It's gonna take someone who's tough and beyond. Tough's not even the right word for it, because it is coming. Clay Travis, these other people, this is just the beginning of what these people will endure. And frankly, if Trump stops resting his eyes long enough and he kind of sizes up someone who is seated on this jury and reports back to Roger Stone and other people that he takes advice from, people could be targeted just because he says the eyebrow on that one, something about it. So I think it's a real problem. The judge is doing, in my view, the best that he can, but buckle up, buckle up.
Yeah.
I just wish it was televised, but then that would probably give Trump more incentive to be Trump.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at least that the courtroom, like artist or whatever, could produce more, so we could do like an animated sort of thing or something.
Oh, that would be so great. You're on to something.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit of it, but
that'd be great.
But anyway, before we move on to just one other ridiculous thing about Jesse Waters there, everyone should bear in mind, like, it is entirely possible that a person who has no interest in the facts whatsoever gets on there and votes to just let Trump off. That is 100% possible. You should consider, I know, see, here's the thing. I think a lot of people are going into this thinking, okay, so he had the affair. They did intimidate Stormy Daniels. They did pay off Stormy Daniels. They did lie about it in how they logged it in their books. So every fact of this is already, we're done with that. We already know that. There could be some sort of bombshell, but every one of the facts that has been alleged is clear, it's transparent. That does not mean he's gonna be found guilty. It is like, they're saying it's difficult because New York is a Democratic place. Sure, it's not 100% Democratic. Like, it is entirely possible that one random MAGA person gets on here. So everybody needs to just hold that for later, because it might just fall apart at the end, even though he did it. So just bear that in mind. But that said, Jesse Waters also complained that he thought a potential juror, or this might be a juror who's actually picked, it shouldn't be there. And why? Did they like say that you shouldn't be above the law? No, they work for a company, and that company, when you go to their webpage, mentions DEI. And so if you work for a company that mentions DEI, you are suspicious and can't be trusted. He's leaving out the fact that Fox also talks about DEI on their corporate website. And also Trump's media company boasts about DEI policies in their governing documents. Many of these companies do. It's very common. It is not nearly as suspicious as he would have you believe. But while that does not represent why you should not trust the juror, what it does represent is how little they have to criticize the jurors on. That they're going to their employer's website. If you're watching this right now, I want you to think about your employer. Maybe you like your job, maybe you don't like your job. Do you believe, though, that every stance your employer has ever taken is your stance now? Who the hell believes that? Jesse Waters doesn't even believe that. The dude is just desperate at this point.